Craftywafty, and tonight I thought we'd go a little bit spooky and make this really lovely, quick and easy Halloween lantern. And I've put a little hook on the top there. You can decorate it to your heart's desire. I'm going to show you how I decorated mine as we go through, and how we make all your, well, I've cut out all of these little die cuts and stuff like that, but please do put a little comment in to say hi, where you're from. It would be lovely to know who I'm talking to. Good evening, Debbie, or Deborah I should say. Hope you're well. So I was trying to come up with an idea. I mean, I had a few different ideas for doing the, you know, something for Halloween. Actually, I haven't turned my little light on. Let me just turn, that's better. And so I thought I'd come up with a Halloween lantern, and I thought it's something that you can actually do with the children if you wanted to. And then they can be as creative as they like when decorating it. Now, as you can see, for this one, I've gone with a shimmer on the black cardstock, and then I've just stuck some little black die cuts and stuff out there. I've just picked up a little bit of silver here and there, but basically that's what I've done. And on the inside I've actually created a little holder for your tea light. If you're, you know, obviously you please use battery tea light, so it just sort of comes out and hooks into there, so you can sort of pop your tea light in and then close it up. And then for this one, you just literally fold it like you were folding a box closed, I suppose is one way of describing it. So you just literally clip that in there, and then you've got your tea light and that on the inside. So it's up to you how you decorate it and all the rest of it. So I'm just going to show you how I've made the lantern. I've cut out a load of goodies here, little Halloweeny bits and pieces to decorate my next one with. So if you've not done so already, we've got the cutting and scoring instructions are currently on the shop. They're free if you download them tonight, and but from tomorrow onwards then we'll be charging for these, so get in quick. I know some of you have already downloaded these prior to tonight's live, so well done you guys. And yes, so you'll see that I put here all the resources, what's needed for the lantern. I've given you some suggestions, and then I've given you all these lovely little drawings, which I will go through as we go through and make the lantern, just so hopefully it makes a bit more sense. I know it's a bit easier to do it when you've got a video to go with it, but I thought I'd draw up all the instructions as well. So I'm just going to pop them to one side, but please do give me a shout out, that would be lovely. Now what it says on our instructions is, right, we need our A4 black card. So this is my lantern base, which is 11¼ inches by 8¼ inches. Okay, we need our tea light holder, 3½ by 3½. And then for the little lantern top, which is this bit here, is 2¾ by 1½ inch. Okay, and then you'll need some vellum or acetate or something to use. Now I think this is like a little plasticky vinyl that I found in my stash, so this is what I've used for mine for the windows. And these are 2½ inches by 3 5/8 of an inch, and you need 4 of those. Now as you can see on mine already, I've just gone round with some thin red liner tape ready to attach the windows when we get to that point. But I haven't done any other prep, so we'll make a start on doing our scoring and our marking up. And please do pop in to the comments if you've got any questions. It'd be lovely to know who's actually crafting along with us as well tonight. And if you think I'm going too fast and you need me to slow down or go over something, then just give me a shout, okay? And I can sort of help you with that. Okay, So let's make a start then. So our lantern base. So we are going to score on the 11 1/4 inch side at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and 11 inches. Oops, come on then, 11 inches, which just gives us a little tab bit there for gluing. Okay, and then we're going to turn it round and score on the 8 1/4 inch side 1 inch and 1/8. So we're going to come all the way down the bottom there, 1 inch and 1/8, and 5 inches. So that is our lantern base scored up already. So I'm just going to put that to one side. Our little tea light holder part, we score 3/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. So I'm just going to do that, 3/8. There we go, 3/8, 3/8, and the final side like so. Okay, and then our last little one, our little lantern top, on the 1 1/2 inch side we are going to score 5/8 of an inch and 1 1/4 inches, and then we turn it around on the 2 3/4 inch side and we're going to score 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4, 1 7/8, and 2 1/2. Okay, and then we should be left with a little tab bit at the end like so. That is all our scoring done. Okay, so right, let's just pop that down and out of the way. Now before we get to do any cutting out or anything like that, we are going to draw in our pencil lines. So what we're going to do here is just get my lovely ruler and find my pencil. Okay, and we're going to mark on our frames that we're going to cut out. Okay, and then we will do the top bits, like the pyramid bits of the top of the box, the triangle bits. So on your instructions here it says that we're going to draw these lines coming down. So in effect you're drawing on each panel. Okay, all right, and I've done it so that the measurements I've given is that we're working from left to right to make sure that you've got the little tab bit on the right hand side. So if you look at your diagram you will see that that's where that is. Okay, and what we're going to do is on here we're going to draw down our pencil lines. So the first measurement, so in effect what we're doing is we're creating a 3/8 of an inch frame in each panel. So if you find it easier to measure it like that, then by all means do that. But I've just done it so that as I'm going along I can extend the ruler and we'll get it done like so. Right, okay. So we're just going to line that up. Where are we? There we are. Let's just put that over. Right, so we've got 3/8. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing that 3/8 of a line from in between these two score lines here. Okay, and I'm doing it in pencil because then I can rub out any pencil lines. So I'm just going to come down like so. I don't know if you can see that. So I've just come in between those score lines. All right, the next one is 2 3/8. There we are. Just line this up. 2 3/8. So I'm just coming in. I'm not going right to the edge because I know I'll be drawing lines coming down the other way. Then we've got 3 1/8. Just try and line these up. It's a little bit hard to see on the black, but we can get that done. And then we've got, yeah, 3 1/8, 5 1/8, 5 1/8. There we are. Right, I'm going to have to turn my ruler around this way now because the measurements don't go that far. And then what am I after? 5 7/8. So 5 7/8. Let's just make sure that's nice and square. 5 7/8. And then I've got 7 7/8. There we go. Like so, 5 7/8. And we've got 8 5/8. That's it. Don't make sure you got it lined up straight. Here we are. Okay, and then like so. And then the last one is 10 1/2. Which comes in just so. So if you see here, I've got where the score lines are, I've got my measurements either side of that. Right, so I'm going to turn that round, and I'm now going to do these draw lines, 1 1/2 inches and 4 5/8 of an inch. So what I've done is I've taken that measurement from the edge. So where the base bit is, so where you've got the smaller bit scored, that's where we're coming up with those measurements. So 1 1/2 inches, like so. And I can draw those between those two lines there. And then the other measurements I said is 4 5/8. And then we can get these ready to cut out, and we're just going to draw those lines like so on all 4 panels. 1 2 3 4. Okay. Now this next bit here at the top, the pyramids or the triangle bits, okay, the halfway point here is 1 3/8 of an inch. So if you're looking at each panel, okay, if you come in at 1 3/8 of an inch and just mark it, and then we're going to draw our pencil line going up to the top and the bottom. Okay, so let's just, let's get my little ruler out. It's a bit big for this job. Right, okay, so 1 3/8. Just going to, okay, and I'm going to line that up. There's my score line. I'm just going to put a pencil line in there so I can see. This is the only thing with when you're trying to measure from a score line, is sometimes it's not as easy to see. But right, okay, and then 1 and coming from there, 1 3/8. Just mark that one there, and then the next one, 1 3/8. Okay, so now you can see that I've marked my halfway point on there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw lines coming down to where those score lines are to create the triangles. So I'm going to take that from the very top. One, and come to where those score lines cross, and I'm going to do that all the way along. So as I said earlier, you could get the kids to decorate these, you know, depending on their age. You might do this bit for them and then just let them cut out and decorate as they wish before you sort of put it all together. Okay, but if you're like me, I I do like things to look just right sometimes, and but yeah, it's be all right. Like the Halloween, and I'm looking forward to putting these out on my doorstep to let our local children and families know that they can knock on the door for a little treat. Okay, now now we've done that, what we need to do is create some tabs. So we're going to draw on a little tab. Now I've probably come out about 1/4 of an inch on there, so what I'm going to do is using my ruler with the pencil line there, roughly 1/4 of an inch, if I can. It's hard to see it in the, and I'm just going to draw another line coming down like so, line that up. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's just roughly, because we're just making our own little tabs like so. And just going to line that one up, and hopefully they're near as, yeah, they are. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw a little line coming in at the top here, just to sort of give that a mitered edge a little bit, so when it comes to cutting the tab, like so. And then here I'm just bringing the tab down that score line like so. Okay, so I think we have put all our pencil lines on there that we need to. Okay, hi Sam, no worries, welcome. I'm just drawing up our template, so no panic there. Good evening Teresa as well, welcome. So here we are, so I've got it all drawn up. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out these panels. I can see I'm slightly adrift with my pencil, but trouble is when you're trying to do it from the score lines and the edge and that, but it's fine, it will look fine. You can obviously take your time doing this, okay, but I'm going to cut out the panels and then I'm going to cut out this bit. So let's just, we've just got 3/8 of an inch coming down like so. Okay, I'm going to turn that round 3/8 if I can see where that score line is. There we are. I think I've done that right. Yeah, I was slightly out on that, wasn't I? Look at that. Dear oh dear. Just go with the pencil lines, Deb. There we go. Right, I'm going to cut along these. I've got to do all these ones this way first, I think. And then I'll cut along the other way. It'll be easier. 2. There we go. Now, some of you may have seen the Christmas lantern that I've put up that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks' time. And I can tell you that the Christmas lantern is a lot more detailed than this one. It's made from construction board, and yeah, so there's a bit more to it than that, but I wanted to do a nice little one that would be quick and easy, that you can make up, you know, if you've got paper and the kids want to make a lantern or something, you know, you can do it out of almost one sheet of A4 paper. Right, okay. Just cutting these along. Okay, and just the last bit. There we go. Alright, that's those bits, and then we came up at 4 5/8, so I can need my other ruler now. Just come across 4 5/8. Just set that along there to cut. There we go. So, and the last one. Okay. Right, we're just going to pop these out. There we go. Like so, 3 and 4. Okay, now what you could do is you could cut these out with a knife, or you could cut them out with a pair of scissors. I think I'm just going to grab my scissors for this one. It's just a little bit easier to handle. So, hi Sam. Right, okay, let's just cut down. Now, because I've drawn the tab in, I just need to make sure I drop down a little bit. I've got to follow that line. And then I'm just going to come down like so. So now I've got my little tab. Okay, and I'm just going to cut these down. There we go. Now I know that, you know, you can buy dies to make lanterns and that with, but I thought, no, Dad, let's not make life easy for yourself. Let's just create and design one that can just be made without using a die. So that's what I've done. Because you might not have a die. You might want to make a lantern, and it doesn't mean to say that this lantern has to be for Halloween. You could make this for Christmas. You could make it for weddings. You could make it for whatever you want. You know, so you can just use this basic pattern and create to your heart's content. Here we go. All right, I'm just going to come down to this bit, and I'm going to cut along that score line. And I'm just going to snip there. Okay, so let's just clear out the rubbish. All right, so it looks a bit of a funny shape at the moment. Now, because I've got these here, I want to obviously score on there. So I'm just going to get my little bone folder, and I'm just going to run that on there. Or if you can line it up on your scoreboard, that's absolutely fine. But I'm just putting a bit of a crease in there, just to. This is what we used to do in the old days, you know. When I first started crafting, we didn't have things like scoreboards. Come on now, you know. It was very much a case of we just had to do it with a bone folder. We're going back to basics. Using a lovely bone folder. Here we go. Right, just gonna, and then this last one. Like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just going to bend along there, and I'm just going to crease each one of these. Plus I can check to see what my angle's like on there, which is absolutely fine for when we come to glue these together. Right, let's fold on this one. Here we are. Just going to give that a crease. Okay. Like so. Just give that a little crease. And our final one. Where are you? There we are. Okay. Right, okay, so there are 4 tips, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold in the other score lines before we start doing any decorating. I just want to put some memory in these, as it were, so that we've got it. Now, this end bit here, where you've got the little thin tab, what I'm going to do is where you come down this edge here, you've got the other one coming up. You've got this like little score line here. I'm just going to snip that score line, and I'm just going to mitre that little bit. Oh, actually, no, on that bit I cut it off. That's it, Deb. I cut that one off. It's this bit that I mitre. It's the bigger one that I mitre. There we go. I'll get all of these little bits done before we can decorate. And then the final bit that we're going to need to do is fold up this final score line along here. Okay, and I'm then going to snip these up to that score line. So I'm following along the score line where those panels are, like so that when it comes together, they are the ones that are going to overlap. Now, if you wanted to, you could just mitre these slightly, these flaps, okay? But we'll see how it folds. I might tweak that a bit later. Right, okay, and I'm just folding on these final ones. So we've folded everything, we've cut everything that we need to, and we've created our tabs. And now, everybody, we can start to do our decoration. Okay, so let's just move everything out the way. Whoops. Okay. But I think before we do that, I think we need to, oh yes, we'll just do our little top, our little lantern top bit, because when we come to doing our decoration, I'm going to need to include that as well. So let's just prep this one. Okay, and for this one, again, I've put the instructions on here. So this side, you've got your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you've got your little score line coming across the top and the bottom there, like the little tabs. Okay, and what we're going to do is that we're going to cut out some of this. So when you're looking at your scored piece with your 2 pieces here, and then you've got these thinner ones coming across the top here, we are going to mark on coming in 1, 2, the second one, and then I'm just going to draw on a little pencil line. I'm just going to, like for a little tab, come on like that, and then I'm going to come in on the other side and just draw a little tab. Okay, doesn't look great, I know, but you get the idea. Okay, and then I'm literally going to cut that bit away and that bit away. So let's just do that. So I'm just going to cut along. I'm going to come that side of the tab. I'm going to mitre and come right across there, and I'm just going to mitre that one. Oops, come on, scissors. There we go. And then I'm just going to come along there, cut down there, and then we're going to cut along like so. Okay, and then these will sort of fold in 1, 2, 3, which will create our little box, and then obviously we've got our sides which will come round, so it's like a box but with a hole in the bottom. Okay, so now that I've prepped that as well, now I can get on with using my buffing stuff to make it look a little bit spooky. Okay, let's just tuck those out of the way. So what I used on my silvery one here is some of this stuff. Pin Flare Liquid Buffet, okay. Comes in different colours. They do like an antique gold, which is what I've used on the Christmas one. And also you can use a spray if you've got a spray, Nouveau creams, anything like that you can use to buff this on. Right, let me just get my glass top. Here we are. Okay, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to, okay. But I'm just going to dip in a little bit of this, and I'm just going to rub it on. Okay, doesn't need a lot. You can see how the effect comes, so from a dull black to a sort of sparkly, spooky sort of grey. Now I can pick that up a bit, and I'm going to get messy. Do love a little bit of mess. Right, okay. And the lovely thing about this stuff is that you can put as much or as little on as you like. And I'm literally just going to come along. Now, when I first designed this, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the grey, and because I'd sort of put it together, I then tried to put this stuff on afterwards, which was okay, but it was a little bit tricky. So hence why I am doing it now while it's nice and flat. It's so much easier. And I am taking it over the tabs just a little bit, just in case when I come to glue it together, I don't glue it exactly. But as you can see, you don't need much at all. And I'm using a duster here to put this on, which is just helping it spread so much easier. Like so. How are we doing? I'm not doing too badly. And as you can see, where I had those pencil lines from doing my measuring, ready to cut out everything, they've pretty much vanished, so I haven't had to worry about rubbing those out. But I just love it. It just gives it a little bit of a spooky effect. Right, like so. And it just makes it easier. So if you haven't come across this stuff before, it's worth having a little look at it. As I said, they do it in other colours. They're like in a bronzy colour, an antique gold, a gold. I think for the Christmas lantern one, I've used the antique gold. So if you're wanting to make that, and you want to have that same colour effect, then by all means, you know, grab yourself some. And I've just come over this bottom bit here as well. Okay, so can you see now how that just lifts that paper a little bit? And make sure I've gone in right round the edges. There we are. Okay, perfect. And I didn't really use that much at all, you know. Plus, being on a duster, I can now stick this in the wash and not have to worry about it. Okay, however, my fingers are covered, so let me just grab myself a wipe and clean my fingers off, and then we can carry on with the next bit. Okay. You know, it's almost worth putting this on my nails. I wouldn't have to go and get my nails done. It sticks everywhere, but it's fine. Perhaps I should have been a bit more savvy and put gloves on, but you know what? That's half the fun of crafting, isn't it? Do people agree with that? Getting a bit mucky, you know, using a bit of sticky, messy stuff. Love it. Absolutely love it. Honestly, you should see me when I've got my alcohol inks out or my distress inks and that. Goodness me. I do get it everywhere. Right, okay, I think I'm okay. And I'm just going to pop that to one side. And the beauty of it is that where I've done it on a glass mat. If you haven't got a glass mat, you can use a messy mat. I know we've got some messy mats in the shop, which are really handy. In fact, I think my glass mat needs a really good clean. I'll have to come back and do that later. You see, this is sort of what I mean. You get into a bit of a mess with all of this stuff. Right. Okay, so now, oh, Sam, you find the best creatives are messy crafters. Absolutely. Do you know what? I am on occasions a very, very messy crafter, and yet alcohol inks. Yeah, I'm hoping in the new year to, because I'm trying to put together my program for the new year, I'm going to incorporate some other bits and pieces as well, using different media and stuff. So watch this space. Okay, so as you can see, here we are. I'm going to flip this over. Now, these are my little windows. As I said, you could use acetate, vellum, or anything like that. I find actually that if I buy some like polymer stamps, like the clear stamps, they often, because I transfer mine over onto these stamp sheets, and I'm left with all that sort of acetaty type plastic where they've stuck them on. I keep all of those because they're really handy for doing things like this. So you know, it's very much a case of you know, keep hold of stuff, use bits and pieces. You know, you'll be surprised when they will come in handy. Now, oh yes, I'm exactly the same. Constantly losing bits. Definitely recut, find the original again. Yeah, no. If you could have seen this week, what did I do? Oh, I've been working on a couple of other projects, and I will show, these will be showcased in probably the next week or so, some of these other bits I've been working on. But I was messing around with a bit of tinsel, and when I looked at my floor after I'd finished, okay, oh my goodness, it was just everywhere. Right, Deborah, sorry Deb, can I see the top bit again? Are you talking about the little lantern? Here we are, so let me get me instructions. Okay, so for the lantern, what I've done is that I've kept the little tab bit here and the 4 at the bottom. Then I've come in one square, and then this second square is where you can see where the red pencil, where the red markings are, is where I've drawn pencil lines, okay, because I want to create 3 little tabs, okay, all right, and then I've cut out those little tabs and all of this bit. So let me just mark it on here. So basically everything that I've just scribbled over here gets cut away. All right, which will leave you with that. So you have the little tab bit, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom, and then this second square in, you've made 3 little tabs, because we need the little tabs in order that when we fold around the sides, that it's going to have something to glue on. Okay, hopefully that's okay, Deborah. Give me a thumbs up. I'm quite happy to go over that again, but you can see here where I've scribbled. Brilliant, thank you. No, that's absolutely fine. Okay, it's a bit hard because this is quite tiny to play around with. Right, okay. So back to our main lantern. So the acetate or vellum or whatever you're going to use. So I've just gone round with some red liner tape. I find that's better to stick this stuff down onto your lantern, mainly because it gives a good seal, but also I find that with some glues don't like to stick the plasticky stuff together, and so by using red liner tape, you know, it's gonna be fine. So I've already gone around and just marked mine up, so I'm just going to attempt to peel this off. Here we go. 1, I'm just going to peel off 2, 3, There we are, and side 4. Yeah, absolutely, Sam. But Sam's just saying that you can actually colour the vellum as well using alcohol markers to give a really good effect. No, totally. Right, so what I'm going to do is I need to have something behind that so I can see it clearer. So I can see where those edges are. So let me just tuck that underneath. There we go. Right, now I can see where those markings are, and I can see where the red liner tape is. I keep saying I'm going to invest in a different coloured mat, you know. I keep seeing all these different coloured ones, like a grey ones and white ones and stuff like that. So at some point I must do that, because sometimes, I don't know about you, if you've got green ones, I find that not always as easy to see. Let's just move these bits out of the way. Oh, don't want to lose you. Right, okay, now we're gonna, so I'm just sticking on the vellum squares or rectangles. There we go. Right, okay, and now I can see where the edge is. Line that down like so. Okay, that's it. 2 down, 2 to go. And then we get to play with all the lovely Halloween bits. Oh, yes, Sam, you're absolutely right. She's just saying, if you were doing this at Christmas, I could see this working with gold embossing, a beautiful gold. Yeah, oh, definitely. So many uses for these. And like I was saying earlier, not just Halloween, not just Christmas, but weddings, birthdays, celebrations. You could absolutely utilise these for many different celebrations and ideas, and that. Or you could just do a row of them and have them hanging up as decoration, like in a bedroom or something, like a child's bedroom. Can you imagine having like their own little lanterns, especially if you put the little drawer pulls on? You could sort of suspend them on a bit of string or something in a child's bedroom. I think would look really lovely. But yeah, I mean, there are so many uses, and you know, this is what I love about crafting. It is so versatile. And actually, I've crossed over, dare I say, using some like paper crafts in with my cake decorating stuff, you know, and vice versa. I thought, oh, actually, could I do something with that? Is there something that will give me the same effect, you know? So this is what I love about it. It's just opens up loads of different possibilities and everything. So it's fabulous. Right, okay, let's just mark that on there. There we go. Right, so they're all down. So that should give a bit of stability now to my lantern. There we are. Okay, now before I decorate my windows, I'm just going to tidy up. Look at that. It looks like a little like red spiders, isn't it? Right. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Okay. Right. And let's just drag. These are all my bits I've cut out. Got loads of lovely bits and pieces. I just grabbed my Halloween dies and just went for it. And then I thought, right, okay, now I need to know what I'm going to do with all of these. So I've got some bits to go on. Now I'm keeping them black, mainly because against the silver they're gonna show up a little bit. But you can decorate, you can put different colours on if you want to. You don't have to keep it all black, pretty much how I've done. But let's have a go. So on here, that's what I love about this. This is a like a little banner. Poked out the hole in there. There we go. I'm going to leave this on this white bit of paper for a minute. It might help you see it clearer. Oh, little eye there to go through. Yeah, I did cut a load of embellishments out. I just went for it, Sam. You know me. Okay, so now I could sort of have that there. So I'm just going to snip that. I will copy what I've done on here just to show you. But obviously you can be as creative as you like. Okay, so I'm just going to lay these out. So on that one I've got my little hanging banner. I've got a little witch upside down. She's in amongst this stuff somewhere. There she is. Now what I've done with these is that I have taken these slightly over the edge as well, so you just get a little bit of detail, and I've got the broom on there. So I'm just going to lay these on. Where's my broomstick? There we are. It's very hard to see black on black. Right, there's my scene, as it were. Looks like the witch has had one too many from her cauldron, doesn't it? She's upside down. Okay, this one, I've got the little gravestone, which doesn't look like much, but I wrote in RIP, so I'll do that. It's a little cross, and then I had a tree. Where's my tree gone? I know I should have sorted these out beforehand, but there we are. There's a tree. Okay, now this bit at the bottom here is just an odd bit of card that I've just cut. So let me just grab one of these panels, because I know that's pretty much going to be the same distance. I'm just going to cut a wiggly bit. There we go. Just so it looks like so. I'm going to have it going that way, I think. Don't need to come up too far. I'm just going to cut across, so that will sort of sit in there, and then I have my little tree and a little cross there, and my little thing there. Oh, I've got a little batty bat in there as well. There's my little bat. Okay, I'm just going to get all my little panels ready. Okay, now this one, a little spider's web. Here we are. Now where I've cut these out, they've not quite poked out all the holes. Alright, so let's just snip. I can just imagine that, you know, if you're doing this for children, they're going to absolutely love decorating these. Just fabulous. Let their creativity run away with them. Be as spooky as they like. This has got tiny little bits in there. You can see why my floor gets in such a mess. Just tip this stuff everywhere. Right, okay, so I've got my little one there. Now, for this bit coming down, I did cut a very thin slice of paper, very thin. So I need to do that, and I need to find my spiders. Where are my? Oh, there's one spider. I think I've got 3 spiders on here. 1, 2. I've got my little spooky cat. Where did my cat go? There he is. Oh, he's got, it looks like he's got 4 eyes. Very spooky. But there we are. Demoned cat. A little cat, and I've got another little spider somewhere. I'm sure I cut this out. Where is it? Oh, there he is. There we go. I don't know about you, but in our house here, well, when I was looking after children many moons ago, any spider that we came across in our house, we called George, or it'd be George's cousin or nephew or something like that, you know, trying to sort of stop the kids being scared from spiders. So we would give them all a name, and George seemed to fit, and it was whoever's George, and you know, they seem to get on all right with that. Right, there's my skull, and I've got a couple of cross little, oh, here's the little bones. So there's one bone. I'm just laying these on the panels so I know roughly where I'm going to glue these. Got a lovely pumpkin. I'll just poke out these bits. There we go. Lots of little bits and pieces. There we go. Now, if you wanted to, I suppose I could have backed this pumpkin onto a bit of orange if I was going to go for a little bit of colour, but I wanted this all to be black. But again, like I said, it's up to you how you decorate yours. And I would love to be able to see your completed creations as well. So please remember to, you know, pop your lovely creations on our page. Okay, now he's quite a smiley little one, and he's a bit more ghoulish. There we go. All right, so they're all my little bits and pieces that I'm going to put on these panels anyway, and then what I'll do is I'll decorate these last few bits afterwards. So I've got a lovely silver pen here. It's just a silver gel pen. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of detail. So on my, so I was just going to pull that to one side. So I'll just do a little bit on the stars, just to pick it up a little bit. There we go. Right. Here we are. You can obviously spend more time with your decorating. I've got this final little star. I'm really excited actually. It's funny. Normally I'm away at a crafting retreat around Halloween, but this year I'm gonna be home. So it'd be quite nice to have these little bits out, so that the children in our road and that can come and knock on the door. I mean, what does everybody do around their way? Do you put like a pumpkin or something like that out? I think it's nice that people beginning to understand now that actually if houses have got Halloween bits up, that they're sort of more than happy for people to knock the door, as opposed to those who don't. So, you know, I think that's quite a nice way of doing it. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know what people put out on theirs. So for me, it'll be these little lanterns, and I'm just going to put a little line across there, just so it looks where that was tied. So that's all the little bits on that one. Now on this one, I've just put RIP on here. Whoops, it's a little bit fiddly. Right, let's try a light little gravestone. There we go, the concentration, Deb. My handwriting is not the best. Often a lot of people say to me, Deb, you should have been a doctor. We can't read your handwriting. But I think I've got away with that. Right, my little bat. Oh, that's a nice idea, Sam. Yeah, putting out pumpkins and sweeties and stuff. So, right, okay, where are we? I'm just going to put a little couple of eyes on that. And then on this one, on the spiders, I've put just a couple of little dots of, tiny little dots. You can go to town as much as you like. Okay. Oh, that's a nice idea. Someone's just said they have a pumpkin icon too for your road to signify who, what roads are having. That's really a lovely idea. You just want to make sure that everybody's safe, don't you? You know, with the kids and that coming round and all the rest of it. So I think sometimes, you know, it does worry me, especially, you know, I often, like, if I answer the door to the kids and like I can't see any parents, I'm like, hey, your parents, but then they're coming along because the kids been so excited to come to your house that they've run ahead. And they're like, yeah, we want to. So I'll just put in a little bit going round those eyes, just to emphasize that this fiendish cat has got for spooky eyes. Okay, and then my little ghosties. I don't think I did anything on my ghosties. I think that's, apart from the other little bats and that. So, but they're bits that go on afterwards. Okay. Right, so now I've got all the lovely bits done. It's just a case of sticking them on. So I'm just going to use my fine glue. Let's just bring the stand down for a minute. And I'm just going to stick these down. Whoops! And you're not going to drop it, Deb. Where are my tweezers? Perhaps I need my tweezers to hold these, because some of these bits are going to be a bit fiddly. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, right. Just tiny little bits of glue. I'm going to stick my witch down. I had a feet come in just over slightly. Now it's easier to stick this on the outside now, because obviously the glue you're not going to see, because that's going to be tucked on the inside, you know, it's going to show through on the inside, and because we won't be able to see the inside, that is going to be absolutely fine. Right, I'm just going to put little dobbles of glue on here. Okay. Right, I'm just going to rest you. Oh, let's move you over just a fraction. That's it. I'm trying to get it sort of fairly even in the. I think that's sticking down all right. And that needs just a tad more underneath. There we go. These are just so cute. If Halloween can be cute, I suppose. I think some people might disagree with you there, Deb. Halloween cute? What are you talking about? Right. Tiny little, lovely little broomstick. The thing was, it was so hard to sort of decide what dies I was going to cut, because I had quite a collection, and you know, I think I've picked some good ones here. Right, okay, and then the broomstick is just going to come over that bottom edge and come up on that panel. So it just brings the panel elements just slightly outside onto the frame. Okay, let's just move those out the way for a minute. There we go. Put these on. Lovely. And then my lovely tree. And where's my rest in peace one? There we are. So, oh, and I've got my cross. I was just put some glue on these. Oh, I don't know about you, but where I live, I've actually noticed that there's quite a few houses that are starting to put up their Halloween decorations already. We have quite a few houses around our area that really go to town. I mean, they decorate their house, you know, and some, it's just amazing, some of the stuff that they put up, you know. I know we've gradually been getting a bit more like America in terms of, you know, sort of celebrating, I suppose if you can call it celebrating Halloween. I don't know, some people disagree with it, but you know, I mean, there are some people that go all out for Halloween just as much as they might do for Christmas and that. So it's quite nice to see. Now I have got that just going over that little bit. Now this will come over my perhaps I should have moved you over a little bit, but you're stuck there. All right, I'll have that tree just going over, but it is coming just slightly over that score line there, which will be fine because it will just give it a little bit more detail, I suppose. But I'll put my little bat. Where's my bat gonna go? He's gonna have him flying over that way on this one. Okay, nearly there. So 2 panels down, 2 to go, and then we'll put this together and then we'll make the other little bits. Little spideys. Ah, I just realised I haven't cut my little tiny thin bit. Let me just put that on there for 1 minute. So I want a very thin slither. Now this is really thin, this bit, so I'm just going to snip these bits off and use this because I can use those for something else. So on a really thin bit of, so it looks like the spider's web coming down. I suppose I could have drawn a line or something on it, but I want it to just sort of stand out. So let's just snip that off there. Okay, I think for this bit I'm going to have to run the glue coming down because trying to put glue on that bit is going to be a little bit fiddly. Okay, let's put that down just a fraction. Okay, so no, it's got a slight curve to it, but that's fine. Right, okay, now I can get the spider's web. A bit more glue on there. Pop that on. So it looks like that's just coming down. I've got that going over to just one side in that corner. Like so, here we are. I'm going to have a spider coming down, and I'm only going to put glue on the body of the spider because then I can sort of lift his legs a little bit just to give him a bit more life. That's it. Look at that. Okay, and then we've got the little pretty cat. Let's put a little bit of glue on him. And he is standing just outside the frame. I think he's watching what the spiders are up to. There we go. Oh, need a tad more glue just under there. Okay, final spider on this one. And again, I'm just putting some glue on the body of that one, then I can lift those legs up a little bit. It's coming over a little bit. Oops. Meant to be sticking to the card, not me. Right, okay. I think, oh, there's the other spider. I think he's going to go on later. Right, and then the final panel is my little pumpkin. And then we can start putting this together. It's so much easier to decorate it while it's flat. I put the lantern together first and then I decorated it. Trust me, this is so much easier. I think I was just so excited at putting the thing together. You know what I'm like, I'll get carried away. So right, okay, and we're just going to we're just going to put these last little bits. Oh, thank you for that, Sam. Yeah, I do get engrossed. I'm really oh. it's just, I just love it. And you know what, for me, it's like the process of creating something completely new or different, or putting your own twist on it, you know, and the end result and everything. You know, I don't know if any of you saw, I put on I created a autumn wreath, and because I just fancied making one, and I've been messing around with pegs and stuff, and so I designed the wreath out of using pegs and what have you, and I was just so chuffed with it. But you just get carried away with what you're doing, and yeah, so you know, occasionally I do step away from papercraft and do other things. I think it just, you know, like I was saying earlier, I think some crafts just help blend over into other areas of crafting and that. So I do like to mess around with different stuff, and that's why it's quite nice that for the next couple of weeks we're doing slightly different stuff and not making albums, but we're doing a few different things just to sort of change it up a bit. But don't panic, I will be coming back with an album. I'm looking forward to the next album I'm going to show you in the new year, so brace yourselves for that, people. You have been warned, she says. Okay, right, here we go. Little ghosties, they're so cute. You got to admit, these ghosties are rather cute. I do like these ghosties. Right, I'm going to pop you there. Okay, and our last little ghosty. And then we can put our thing together. I'm going to have him just coming over the top, up like that. And there we are. I mean, I know I've cut out loads of bits and pieces, and some of these will be used for decorating the top bit, but if I just put that, leave that on there, and you can see, there we are. Exciting. Right, shall we glue this and stick this together? I think that's what we need to do. And then we're going to make our top of our lantern, and then we're going to make the little tea light holder bit for the inside. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to run glue along here, and then this part will stick on like so, and we're just going to follow that all the way round until we get to bring around the other bit. I'm just going to warn you now, no, Mick, you can't. Mickey, my cat, is attempting to come and see everybody. Just because I'm messing around and talking about black cats, Mick, it's not, I don't mean you, darling. You can stay exactly where you are, please. He likes to come and be involved. So, right, let's start gluing these together. So I'm going to use, now, you could use a bit of red liner tape. I know I normally do for construction, but actually I might need a little bit of wiggle room on here, so I'm just using some bookbinding glue, and I'm just going to hold that in situ for a few seconds, so it just allows me that little bit of wiggle room to get that right on that nice fold and that edge coming up. And you can see why I said earlier about taking the liquid buffet stuff around down your flap here, so that you can, you know, if there is any of it showing. I'm just going to give that a little crease. That's it. I'll just stick that. How's that doing? There we go. Okay. Right, while that end's drying off a bit, I'm going to come and do the same on this end. So give that a crease. Put the little glue bit on. Oops. What's happened to me glue there? It's all Spread that along. There we go. Come on. It's getting near the end of the bottle. Because I use so much glue. Right, okay, I'm just going to tuck that in. See, glue all over my fingers. Told you I'm a messy crafter. Right, okay, I'm just going to bring that up to the top. Don't panic if your points don't completely meet at the very, very top. All right, because obviously we're going to put a little lantern top over on the top of that, so it's going to cover those up. All right, so now that's two sides done. Okay, I'm now going to come in and do this side here. Okay, so that's going to glue on there. Like so. Just going to hold that in situ. Oops, come on. So I just pinch that just a fraction, just to make sure I've got a good seal on that. Like so, 1, 2, 3, and then we've got our final bit. Just get my hand tucked in there. There we go. It's a little bit fiddly. Come on, stick. There we go. That's it. All right, and now I'm just going to come in, tuck that bit in. Now on here, what we're going to do is we're going to run glue down there, and we need to run glue down on this final bit. So let's just give those another good crease before we go in on there, because then that will bring the lantern together completely. Okay, so let's run a bit of glue. But if you find it a little bit fiddly with the glue, then, you know, and you want to use red liner tape, then go for it. You know me, whatever makes it easier for you guys. Right, here we are. Right, we're just going to pop that on. Get my hand in there. Actually, let's fold these flaps back a bit. I can get my hand in just to hold this in place. There we go. It'll be fine. It just needs to grip it. Come on. Stick you down first, that's it. There you go, you're gradually catching now. Right. And I'm just going to get a little ruler. It's my little ruler. Oh, helicopter going over here outside. Right, come on. That's it, let's just pinch that a little bit. There we go, that's better. Just got to persevere with it. And breathe, Deborah. I am honestly, I'm sat here holding my breath going, oh. Right, okay, I've got it together, people. There we are. So I'm just going to put that to one side. Right, okay. And now we're going to make our little top. Phew, I didn't think it was going to stick then for a minute. Okay. Oh, thank you, Sam. You saw my lovely wreath. Yeah, you need a nice. I'm making a Halloween one, so I'll be posting that up soon. Right, now these are little drawer pulls. Okay, they come in different colours, shapes, or in sizes rather, but these are like small little ones. And what I love about these is they're like a brass tack bit, and then you've got the little ring pull, which just work beautifully on the top of my little lantern here, you know, because now I can sort of hang that up, which I think is great. So I've just got these. Right, let's just pop these in. You don't have to put one of these on if you haven't got access to anything like that. Then you can poke a hole in the top and maybe string some cord through, or rope, or string, or ribbon, or whatever you like, whatever you've got, you know. Now this is going to be my top bit, so I need to put a hole in there because I need to pop this in. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to put, there we go, a little hole. Now I'm still keeping my paper down here for a minute because when I'm fiddling with these little things on the green. Now these wings are way too big for that, so I will need to trim these down. But first of all, I'm just going to poke this through. There we go. Poke that through. I've got that pretty central, and I'm just going to fold these back. Okay, like so. Now these are way too long. All right, but I'm just going to push that down because I want to make sure that that is fitted properly. So I'm going to have to snip these off. So either like tin snips or something like that. Okay, I don't know where that bit went. I shall find that bit later. Okay, and I'm just going to get underneath and trim that off. There we go. All right. So that is now set in the top, so that when these are folded over and it's glued together, that's going to be fine. So I'm just going to crease these edges. Now I've not mitered this bit here because I want a nice firm gluing point on here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the two side bits first, and then I'm going to come in on that last side with the overlap here. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera so you can see. All right, so I'm going to put glue on two sides, fold that round on that side, then that one round on that side, and then we'll do these three bits later. Okay, so a little bit of glue. Let's do one side first. And I'm just going to hold that. We want to make sure we get a good seal on that because this is going to take the weight. This little square box is going to take the weight of our lantern. Okay, so that's gone. Right, and now I'm going to do this side. So you can see why I said that we need to draw on some flaps and cut them out, because otherwise we wouldn't have anything for this to stick to. There we go. Like so. I'll just hold that in place. It is a little bit fiddly, I appreciate that, but it is all worth it in the end. She says, and perseverance and patience is always a good virtue to have. Oh dear. Okay. Right. Right, I'm just going to let that set for a minute. Okay, and then we're going to bring that side over onto there, and then that side will come over. So then it ends up completing our little box lid bit. Okay. Let's turn that around a little bit. Right, okay, here we go. I'm going in with the glue now. I'm going to put a little bit of glue under there and glue on there. Whoops. Let's just pop that to one side. Okay, and now I'm just going to fold that in. I'm just going to hold it now for a second or two, just to make sure that seals, holds it properly. Come on, sticky. And yes, I've got glue all over my fingers. Oh, it's a little fly. Get out of the way, little fly. Right, okay, I'm just going to leave that to dry off like I've done with the lantern. And what we'll do is we're going to make the little tea light holder bit like so. So let's just come back and have a little closer look at this. Now what I've done is that with the tea light holder, I have attached it with a bit of construction tape so that I can just pull it in and out. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. Okay, it's just that I felt that when I put it in, if I hadn't put the tape on there, I'd be pushing it right down the length of the lantern, but I wanted something to hold it. Okay, so that's what I've done. So that's what we're going to make. Right, let's move this out the way now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold on those score lines that we did earlier around all four sides. Okay, now for the lantern, where are we? The little tea light holder. Now I got these, if you wonder where I got these from, I got these off of eBay, or was it Amazon? One of those. Right, okay. Little tea light. You can get different coloured ones. You can get ones that with a white glow, a warm glow. I've gone for like a little warm flickering glow. Okay, and basically what I did was I put it in the middle there and I drew around it. So that's what we're going to do now. So sort of working out roughly, just in case your tea light is a slightly different dimension. I mean, I think most of them come pretty much the same. All right, that's fairly central. I'm just going to poke a hole in the middle of that. And now I'm just going to snip across. So I'm doing these bits basically, okay, so that when I come to, so if I show you, if I fold that together like that, you'll see there's a little bit of a hole in there. So we'll just take that out. So I'm just going to use, actually I don't want those scissors, they're too big. What have I done with my other little scissors? Honest to goodness. Right, where are we? Little scissors. No, you're too... I'm trying to find the right scissors for the right job. Right, okay, these might. Okay, so I'm just going to snip in. Okay, I suppose you could do this with a craft knife. Okay, it's not the best edging you've done. There we go. That's more like it. So I've sort of done it as quarters, and then I'm going to go in and do it as eighths. Okay, like so. Now, because these are a little bit longer, so that when we've made our little stand bit, these bits here will come down too low. So that's why I just took a little bit off each tip, because I need it to sit flat. There aren't any set measurements for this. It's just whatever's gonna work best. There we go. All right. As my granddad would say, it's rough, but it's ready, lady. Right, okay, so then the idea is that you should then be able to fold these back on the circle. Might need to come out a little bit more. It's going to be, there's probably going to be a bit of wiggle room, you know me. I love a little bit of a wiggle. Like so. It's just I wanted it to have something that you could tuck it in and it would be a tightish fit. Right, I might need to snip those back just a fraction more, just beyond that circle, just a fraction. Let's take that back a little bit. Like I said, a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. It's just enough to grasp. Okay, right, so let's try that now. Here we go. I'm going to just tuck that in and tuck that over. Come on, oh, almost there, look. It will go, just needs a little bit of wiggle. Aha! Voila. Okay, there we go. So you can see why I've snipped off those bits, because of the depth of the tea light as well. I didn't want it to go any longer than that, but that sits quite with a little bit of tweaking. Have a little tweak and a little wiggle. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that through. So now we just need to do our corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip one side of the little square, because we're going to fold that round and create our corner. So I'm snipping that on the corner just up to those score lines. Okay, so now where those score lines will be bent at, that will now come in and create like a little corner. Okay, so we're just going to add a bit of glue to those. Okay, I'm just going to hold that in situ. Okay, and now I'm going to come and do the next one. I didn't take that back far enough by the looks of it. Oh no, I think it will go. Oh, there we are. Just going to bring that round. Hold that for a couple of seconds. How's everybody doing? Just checking in on you. Right, okay. I'm going to fold that one. No, that one I haven't quite cut. That's what I like it. Right, that will come round a little bit more. Hold that in place. Okay, and then our final one will go in round like so. So we've sort of created like a little base like that, which our tea light will sit in. Okay, inside our box. So I stuck this in, so when you come to put this inside, okay, so one of the flaps here, you can see I've just literally taped that on the edge just so that that flaps in and just tucks in neatly to that. So I can pull that out, I can drop in my tea light and switch my tea light on. Is this one going to work? This is an old one. There we are. So I'm just going to tuck that into there. That then tucks in like so. And then I can fold my box base like that. And then you've got your little light in there. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. I'm just going to sit that there for a minute. Right, so hopefully this has dried suitably. Now, I think on my original one I have slightly mitered these, so I will just do that, but only very slightly because I want it to have a good I'm literally just taking this little off because I still want it to be able to hold that edge. There we go. Okay. It sounds like it's raining big time out there. Okay. Literally just taking a tiny slither off. I know, perhaps I should have done this before I folded the box up, but where's the fun in that, people? Come on now, you know. Okay, and we'll just do last. You know me, love a little challenge. Right, okay. So I'm going to open up those, spin those back for a minute, and I'm going to attach this to one of the sides. Let's just try it out for size, see if that's going to fit. It's a little snug, but let's try. Oops, get in there. It will go in, she says. Determined, it will go in. There, voila. Okay. That's it. Just give it a little bit of wiggle. Okay, so now I've got that in, I am going to tape down one of those edges with some construction tape. If you haven't got construction tape, then any tape will do. It's just to hold it in place. Right, okay, I'm just going to run that all the way along. Oh, I need to trim that. I think I cut that too big. Actually, those scissors are better for cutting the tape with. Do you find that certain scissors are better for cutting things than other bits, than other scissors? Right, let's trim that off. Okay, so that is my tea light holder attached. Okay, so that will now come out. All right, and then it will, it's a little snug, but it will go in. And then the idea is once you put your tea light in, then you can fold over your bottom part like you would, like if you was sort of closing a box. Okay. All right, we're almost there, everybody. How are we doing for time? Look at that. Lovely. Okay. So all we've got to do now is add our little lantern top. Okay. and finish off decorating, and then we are pretty much done. So I'm just going to add some glue. So I'm using a bit of bookbinding glue, and I'm just going to go all the way around the inside. I'm going to give it a good dollop of glue because I want it to catch the card underneath. And I'm just going to sit that on top, and I'm lining up the corners of the box with the edges of the lantern coming up here, and I'm just going to leave that to dry. And while that's drying, I'm just going to finish decorating. I'm just going to open that up so I can sit that flat for a minute. Finish decorating the other bits. So what have I got left? Well, we're pretty much on the home straight now. So I've got some ghosties, I've got a witch's hat, I've got a few bats, I've got another little spider, there's another one. What else have I got? Oh, there's another little ghosty. I think we use these little ghosties because they're really cute. Oh, more bats. What else have I got? Oh, even more bats. Somebody would say I'm a bit batty, I think. And oh, there's another little ghosty. Let's just pop out those bits. I might use you. I've got some like really scary ghosties. Now I put these on this one, but I think I'm going to go with these cuter ones because they are really cute. And oh, there's a couple of tiny little pumpkins there as well. I don't know about those, might use those. Right, so glue. I was sort of, as I said, almost on the home stretch now. So I'm just going to, now that spider, oh actually, I did put eyes on him, jolly good. I'm just going to have him coming up from the spider's web, coming up onto the, like so. So it looks like he's escaped from the, let's just bring him down a little bit, escaped from the spider's web. And I'm going to put a couple of these ghosties. Right, okay. I'm just going to stick these. Now I'm sticking these so that they do sort of come over the edges. It just gives it a little bit of life. Right, he's quite a smiley ghosty, so let's have him on there. Right, let's stick him coming over that way. I've got some bats. Oh no, the bats need some little eyes. I'll just put a little eyes. I'm going to put bats in the belfry. Here we go. Our last little bit. Little ghosty coming. He can come over that way. I'll have a bat coming in like that. Over. Oops, stick to that, not a finger, thank you. And I've got a tiny little bat, little tiny baby bat. Look how cute that is. Oh, right. Oh, tiny little dots for eyes. Right, I'm going to stick you on. Like so. That's it. It's just coming off that edge. Right, how many other cute ghosties have I got? I've got 1, 2, oh, I've got 3. Okay. So, oh goodness me, I've got stuff sticking to me like anything tonight. It's such a messy crafter, Deborah. Such a messy crafter. Right, okay. We're going to have him coming there. And I have one coming off the top. And then I'm going to do opposite again with one and some bats, just to sort of make them a little bit symmetrical. Not quite, but a little. Right, okay, did I have any other cute little tiny ones? I've got a couple of bigger bats. Right, let's put a couple of dots for eyes. There we go. Oops. Right, and we're going to pop you on there. Okay, I'm just going to stick you coming over that way a bit. And we're going to put on a couple of bats. And I might have a couple of bats coming off that very top bit as well. So let's have you coming that way. And there we go. And you, oh, I've knocked that one. Get back up there. Just need these to dry a little bit. Right, okay, so I've got loads of little bats. And we're going to put a little bat on that one, up the top there. Oh, you're not meant to stick to me, stick to that, thank you. Okay, and I might have that bat. I think he's too big for that top bit. Have I got anything tiny that I can put on the top? No, do you know what? Have I run out of little Halloweeny bits that I can use? Oh, I've got a tiny little ghosty, but no, maybe I'll leave it like that. He's coming up. Actually, I'm going to take him down a little bit and bring him down there, so he looks part of that. And there we are. Dun dun dun. One spooky Halloween lantern. Okay, so the proof of the pudding, as they say, is now obviously you can let yours dry and that, but I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So now that I've done that, put my lantern in, tuck that in, fold that over like you would close a box. That's my two lanterns. I'm not going to pick that up just yet because that is probably still need a little bit of time to dry, but I'm going to go and turn the light. Let's turn that light off first, and I'm going to go and turn the main light off, and then you can see what they look like. Right, here we go. Okay. Oh, look at these. How cute are these? And what I love is that the little silhouettes and everything, they really do show up in the dark and that. Look at that. And then you've got that one on there as well. I think they're going to look very lovely out on my doorstep for Halloween. Okay, right, let me just turn the light back on so you can see what I'm doing. And there we are. And that is us done. Now I'm just wondering what I've got coming up next. I can't remember now. I don't think it's the Christmas one just yet. Now I'm not here next week because I'm actually away at a little craft retreat. So but I think everybody will be getting ready for Halloween and that anyway. So I'm giving you another week off, and then we are running with all the lovely Christmassy goodies that we're going to be making, which is we've got a selection of different types of chocolate boxes. We've got the Christmas lantern, we've got Christmas crackers, we've got some like little decorations and bits and pieces, and then of course there's the surprise Christmas treat, which I'm not going to tell you yet because I haven't done that. Thank you for that, Deborah. Who else did we have watching? Oh, Upcycled Wonders, thank you for watching, and Linda as well, and Denise, so thank you for that. It's lovely that people are sort of coming along and joining in, so I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. And I just think these are a lovely thing that, as I said, if you've got children, you can get them involved, or if you just, like we've spoken about before, these are so versatile to be used for any occasion, you know, however you want to sort of decorate them, is totally up to you. But a nice, quite quick and easy sort of little thing to make. Okay, and I think on that note then, I'm going to say goodnight. I'll see you.